Stop working so hard in your business. The big money is made by working on your business. Many business people want more and go about it all the wrong way. They do more of what they're already doing. On the surface, that seems to make sense. But if X action produced Y results, then double X will produce double Y. But that's not the way the HLP Business Builder breaks through to the next level and beyond. Let's say it takes you 10 hours to drive from point A to point B at an average of 60 miles per hour. If you want to get there in half the time, the above strategy would say, drive twice as fast. Would you get there in half the time? Of course not. You'd be stopped by several patrol people, probably arrested, maybe never get there at all, and would probably get hurt in a serious accident. Yet, that's the approach most of us want to take. Wrong. Maybe you should just hop on a plane. That approach results in stress, burnout, frustration, and despair. Just like the driver going 120 miles per hour, people do get hurt. Entrepreneurs need to create a system full of statistics they can live by. Otherwise, how do they ever have peace of mind, confidence, and the stability to chase even a bigger, bolder dream? Statistics that you can live by. The primary aim of a small business is not only to realize the dream or the potential of the business, and also the dream and the outcome in mind of the business owner and the purveyor of that dream, but it's also to produce statistics that you can live by. What small businesses lack is they lack predictability. They lack enough information or data answers based on what systems have been in place. Because there are systems in place, but those systems are suboptimal. Some may say, I don't have any systems at all. Yes, you do. You do have systems. Some are optimizing, some are not. The systems that are optimizing are those that are consistently hitting an outcome every single time. In fact, there is probably a variation built into the system itself. Like the judicial system, for every 9 men that go to jail guilty, 1 must go to jail innocent. Whatever we do to better that, it seems that the system itself has that margin of error built in. So, getting a system to be optimal means that considering the nature of the system, the variations in the system, depending on what other things that we can change, the steps, the processes that are involved, we can hit a desired outcome. And what small businesses lack is they lack that predictability. Now, usually where they get it first is in sales. It's very predictable to have a closing ratio. We see that if we do A, that will be B, that will be C, and we have predictability. By virtue of having predictability, we can then make sounder decisions that we can count upon. In his seminal book, The E-Myth, small business consultant Michael Gerber proclaims the importance of working on your business, not just in it. That's the point of what we call the law of the fast reverse. It works like this. Frequently, before a successful system launches a new direction or initiative, it intentionally takes a short preparatory step in reverse direction of its ultimate goal. Here are a few examples. Before the quarterback throws the ball downfield, he must first step back into the backfield to give himself sufficient time to make his throw. Before you jump up, you first crouch down to put spring in your legs. Before you can go south as you enter a freeway from the east, you must first go north on the cloverleaf. Before you go to a party, a social function, you groom, a solitary function. And before getting quickly from point A to point B instead of driving, it would require waiting at the airport and waiting on the runway before you moved forward at all. Meanwhile, the guy in the car has a head start on you. HLP coaching clients constantly practice this breakthrough business strategy. Members of our coaching program systematically build their business using this strategy, this fast reverse. I call it the slingshot effect. The farther you pull back the object in the slingshot, the greater projection it will have, velocity, and precision. The strategist always makes more money than the mere doer. That's because we're going to spend more time on your business than in it. Imagine trying to move a large object with a long stick, a lever. You must step away from the object you want to move in order to get leverage. Are you working too hard? Are you doing things the same way you did them in the past? Do you spend enough time working on your business, not just in it? And how do you find time to work on your business? You don't. You do because you choose to, because it is a priority. And I can never make you make something a priority, but I can give you a reason to make it one. So let's create a business game plan for working on your business, not just in it. First, look at what you're doing. Look at an average week out of your calendar from the last 90 days, and look at where you spend your time. How much time did you spend on your business, not just in it? Create a schedule. Get the bull by the horns, not the tail. What's scheduled gets done. Time blocking is a technique for gaining momentum. Instead of working on your business for an hour, block out a day or a half day. The ground you'll gain from a successful time period, committing your passion and innovative thinking to improving a process, will be significant. Now, I'm going to be going over specific processes that you can be upgrading in your business. But think of it like working on a car. If you were a race car driver, you would be in the shed working on your car, putting upgrades to it, making it run better so that when you race, it races easily, more flawlessly, predictably, and you win more races. Next, you need to get your team involved in this process. Do not be the genius down the hallway who figures it all out and everyone else is your arms and legs. Here's why. Richard Tierlink at Harley-Davidson during his turnaround said this: "If I don't get people to create the systems with me, they will not buy in. Because people tend to buy into systems they help create, instead of giving them the marching orders and having them follow. At best, that's compliance. We want you to solicit commitment and enrollment, not compliance. You co-create your systems instead of sell or get consulting on them from your team. Get your team involved at a ground level, from bottom up, so they have the proprietary orientation to the company. They share the ideas from the bottom up. That cultivates a sense of ownership, not just financial ownership, but it's a sense of responsibility and creativity. And that's the culture that thrives, is ownership, responsibility, creativity, and accountability. Carry out a series of monthly meetings over the next 6 months to nurture the long-term process of reflection. Spend a minimum of 1 to 2 hours per week of dedicated collective system building. Notice I said collective. This schedule and praxis should enhance workflow, not interrupt or interfere with it. This way you don't have to pay extra for additional work hours. And the leverage gained from the experience will cost justify with great efficiencies toward the bottom line. I guarantee it. Now you might be saying to yourself, if I only could do this, or but I can't. How do I find the time to work on my business, with everything being important and urgent? I don't have time. Or if I only had the time, I would. Again, you just do because it's important to you. No one's holding a gun to your head. You're in an economy of results. Remember this. You're not punching a clock, or when the whistle blows you start work. How you organize your time is strictly up to you to earn the results that you want. Therefore, you can modify your choices. Will there be opportunity cost? Yes. Might you take a few steps back to go 10 forward? Yes, that's the strategy we're talking about. So don't make it wrong if it happens. You may have to tolerate a little bit of pressure over a temporary period to experience true rewards. You make the time because it's a high priority to you, as well as the path to freedom and growth. It's purposeful action. You know that it's the equitable position that you need to sell your company ultimately. You know that if you're going to franchise it in your exit strategy, it must be turnkey and friction-free so that another can, in a monkey-proof way, take delivery of an autopilot business system. How much is your business worth? What would a buyer look upon? Do you think they're going to look at the predictability of your system? Do you think they're thinking about how much time they're going to invest in your business if they buy it versus the return, and how much money they're going to invest versus the return? They want to minimize the amount of time and minimize the amount of money. First is the time. Have you been thinking about stepping away, having an autopilot business that operates independently of you? How much are you hindering that process by your mere choices? How do I plan what I don't know anything about? Answer: you will know. You just haven't revealed it all to yourself yet until you act upon your plan. Put your desires ahead of you. Make learning a function of your desires. You'll innovate, brainstorm, implement, study, benchmark, be a student of how you want to design things. That's called innovation. Then you adjust and then repeat it with newly modified plans. You do this until you build a stable system that statistically probably hits an expected result every single time if carried out well. There is no accident why McDonald's is the number two most recognized name in the world. Coca-Cola is number 1. American Express is number 3. See, at McDonald's, Ray Kroc assumed that everything was practice, and you rely on fast feedback from past results like a personal school. He knew that it wasn't the hamburger that he was selling, it was the way that he sold it and the way that he made it that gave him a competitive advantage. He knew that someone could duplicate his recipe in their backyard, but by virtue of his systems and creating an environment that produced the same taste no matter where you were, no matter what city you were in, it brought him to success. And it's a model for tremendous success for small businesses on varying levels. So you go into this less than perfect with a learning mentality to thrive on mistakes as your teacher. I call it the Windows 95 mentality. Bill Gates produced Windows 95 with all the bugs in it intentionally. He didn't make money on Windows 95 like he did on the versions. But he put something out there less than perfect, got fast feedback, worked out the kinks, based on that feedback, produced an even better opportunity, and then it took off. And you know the rest of the story. Make your cause greater than your threat. In other words, your ability to learn is favored over your frustration with a setback. This ability to get back up again after a fall is the critical crossover point leading to either a winning outcome or a withdrawal of effort. Use your Thomas Edison perseverance. Looking at your marketing, sales, service models, looking at how you generate leads, convert those leads, fulfill the client, and then propagate that client for more business and or referrals, to stay with you for a longer lifetime, to be preeminent and educate them and take care of them, make them better at buying what you do, make them better people, make them more capable citizens. Look at your HR game plan, your financial dimension, your management protocols, what needs immediate attention and what area of optimization could provide immediately financial stimulation or relief. Select 1 or 2 processes per week to document into a how-to guide of steps. Include your team in this process. So you would basically do this. You would start with a name of the process. You would ask yourself, who is responsible for this process? Is there a specific measurement or business unit that needs to be managed or reported? What is the initial step of the process? What is the final ending step? And then define the steps in the middle. You simply start a 1-page document. I recommend that you name your processes. I call them $10 labels. So instead of having a qualifying process in sales, you can call it the power screening system. When you do this, it really drives up the appearance, the mystique of your intellectual property. I like to think of it as a message at that point. A message is something that can be passed through a series of minds. It resonates. As Seth Godin would call it, a meme. M-E-M-E. A meme is a cultural idea, a guiding idea that is viral enough to move from one mind to the next. When you call your systems a specific name, it authenticates something that is yours. Because when you say we have a qualifying system, that's very generic. So does everybody else. But when you name it something of your own, you own it. And at that point, it has worth, or it has perceived worth. If you make the systems building process a nonstop effort, you're going to witness an incredible change. Over a period of time, you'll begin to notice a dramatic increase in confidence and control. By committing your attention to working on your business, your staff will be able to please you with systems they can follow. Instead of being human dependent, you become systems dependent on a codifiable step-by-step set of processes that you can live by. You owe it to your people to understand the needs of the work and the expectations, standards, guidelines, and steps that need to be done. Some people ask me, how much structure is enough? Well, it depends on industry. If you're in a creative industry such as architecture, then you may want to balance out structure with flexibility. You have to decide where the temperament is between structure and flexibility, independent action and thinking, and management control. Some places you can't afford not to have management control. Other aspects of your business, you can. What you're doing is you're creating a playbook to win every single time. Much like a sideline coach with his quarterback, there are certain times when the quarterback has to take on the authority and make the key decisions on the field because of what he sees and what he's good at. And there are times when the coach has to step in and say, here are the plays, let's get to the red zone and let's score. It's that give and take that's so important, and the timing involved. This comes through experience as to where to lend your efforts. At what time? What if your competition would fear you? What if your clients took delivery of even a greater value? How viral could you be? What kind of idea viruses could be sneezed on other potential clients because of the high level of value that you've delivered? And most of all, what if you could experience the freedom from $12 an hour work that sucks you dry of your best abilities and most attractive qualities? What if you could move from your adrenaline being your only source of fuel, reacting and responding to loosey-goosey, wing-it processes, to predictable atmospheres, predictable outcomes that you could really plan with, and focus your attention on the unique gifts that contribute the most to the world and access those opportunities that you haven't been able to reach because of your lack of capacitation and readiness and prep. You're actually acting on an organic exit strategy to sell your business when you work on it. You don't realize it. One of the invisible blessings of doing this process is how you use a different type of business money, equity. You're driving up your business worth by virtue of investing your time in working on your business, making it bigger, better, faster, stronger, running more cleanly, easily, and predictably drives up the level of equity that you have, much like equity in your house. And to me, this is an investment that you can leverage 30 times over. So every hour that you spend on improving a process, just consider you're increasing your net worth of your company. It's more attractive to a potential buyer. The less he or she has to think about it, spend time with it, dealing with those dilemmas, you've already saved that time and wasted energy. That has true value. The more autopilot your business is, like a franchise, the more worth it has to a potential acquisition. So think of it like Gerber says, a franchise prototype. Think about every decision that you're going to make this week as if you made them 5,000 times. Think about every process in the company as if you were going to duplicate it 5,000 times. That's an interesting fisheye lens to look through, isn't it? The law of fast reverse, a fantastic perspective to get to the future you want to create, to attract more freedom so you can redirect your gifts and talents and energies to a better place. You can have more confidence that things are going in the direction that you can go, and you have the readiness to take on new platitudes with your vision, new heights, because your company is prepared to maintain the control. If you want to go after a new market, a new client, well, you're going to be able to fulfill it. And your earning power dramatically goes up because you redirect your focus, and the entrepreneur is then awakened again. You move out of doing, and you get into planning, and strategy. You get your imagination back again.